Hello everyone, welcome back to another showcase. Now, I've already talked about rare weapons, and I figured why not cover another rare weapon. One that's actually more difficult to acquire because there's so few enemies in the game that have very few locations. That said, you could get it in the beginning areas, but it's very unlikely, since the skeletons that have it only have a 5% drop rate. So, the weapon today is the Falchion. The Falchion is pretty much the idea back in the old days of combining an axe with a sword. Genius. Makes a rather heavy, well, pretty much hefty blade, but pretty good in all senses. It was designed mainly to chop through shields and that, if they were made of wood. But anyway, the description reads, a standard curved sword widely used slashing weapon. Because there's no edge on it, or there's no point, I mean. The Falchion's flesh-rendering slashes are greatly compromised against armor and tough, scaled-covered hides, because there's no point on it that is the issue. It's meant to chop through shields. The skill is the spin dash. Slashing the foes with a large spinning motion, and continued spinning into transition to a strong attack. But yes, since this is a real weapon, you can actually own a Falchion in real life. And not really that expensive either. Probably get a really crap imitation one, probably for $180. Perhaps? That's a guess of pricing. I didn't do any estimates, I didn't look anywhere. But they're fairly easy to find. Unlike the Flamberg, where you might have to search quite a bit, you can probably go on eBay and find a Falchion for sale. Anyway, visually, the Falchion is pretty much exactly like it is as it's made. Almost right down to the pommel, too. They're a fairly simple-looking blade, and relatively easy to make compared to most swords. You just don't draw out the material nearly as much. But it is a bit hefty, usually weighing about 4 or 5 pounds, maybe sometimes 6. But this is usually a low problem, as it's not really a point you jab with, it's what you swing. So you could, as the weapon suggests, do spinning motions, as they were trained to do back then. Supposedly. I'm no expert on that. But no matter. The weapon looks pretty much a 1-to-1 exact ratio as they used to make it. Lengthwise, widthwise. Pretty much an accurate rendition of the actual weapon. Very nice. You get points for that, clearly. Stat-wise, looking at the physical, it is okay. It's above the beginning weapons, and there's even the bonuses there. It's just okay though. Not amazing, but still just a plain weapon. The trio bonus is just 2Ds, which explains for the 50. By the guess, you probably have more dexterity than strength. Your trio requirements is pretty much the same story. You need 9 strength, which is almost nothing, and a little bit, just a tiny bit of dexterity at 13. The spin and slash cost not really any FP at all. And funny enough, the weight is only 4.0, which is heavier than a standard sword, but not as heavy as the probably accurate rendition of it you get in real life. But no matter. Pretty much an average Brown's weapon. Not impressive, but not exactly underwhelming either. Kind of was expecting. But no matter. Let's move on to the animations and see how well it does there. For animations, this weapon's very, very quick. The play attack is horizontal sweeps. The power attack is upwards and downward lunges. Very quick. Two-handed. Pretty much a bit slower, but possibly more powerful. And it's pretty much you're switching the same animation tags, but man, are they quick. And the spin attack, if you do a simple spin attack, does that, but you can follow up the power attack for a more extended version. Sprinting is simply just another upward swing. However, unlike most curved swords, your kick animation remains the same. You don't fancy flip there. On the upgrades, this one takes the plain Titanite shard. We can mostly just get a small upgrade, not impressively. I was right about the trio bonus. It goes to C. But, for the most part, it's an average upgrade tree. Looks like we are doubling that bonus damage, which is nice. And the play damage got a bit of damage. Now, how well does it do in the field? Well, his weapon is quick, but as it says, it could be compromised by armor. Let's try and find out. The backstab. Not as nearly as much as you think. At 380. That's nearly full damage, like barely a penalty at all. They get exposed with no armor, it's from murder to them. Let's see how well the range is with that move. Missed the first attack. It's only an average length blade. But, overall the damage, I don't think it's a huge issue. Yeah, they say it's, you know, tough armor and skills resisted, but I don't see a huge issue. Doing standard damage, not really penalized that much. Yeah. But in terms of, well, this opponent, it does seem like it will take quite a few chops to get through him. But then again, that's for most blades that are just plain. And of course, fighting this enemy is just a pain in the ass, but he doesn't want to fight and just wants to defend all day. Oh, how annoying. But hey, no, managed to get through the defense that time. Strange, I'm not sure what triggered that. I would not expect this blade to actually get through that. And nor did he run out of stamina, which is weird. And the other attack doesn't really work. Strange indeed. Despite that, I could not replicate that event, even though while using the same lunge attack at him didn't really achieve much. Weird indeed. But now is it more effective against Dark Knight here? Well, could be. Let's find out. The armor. He certainly has a lot more armor than a Cathedralite. Let's try a backstab. 350. I think that description's calling bullshit. I think the penalty for this weapon is minimal to nothing. It's doing the same damage I expected it to do. Not because it's not expecting penalty at all. If it was penalized, I would expect around, I don't know, 250 damage around that range. But instead I'm doing 300 plus. Moving on to the pros and cons of Falchion. On the pro side, we've got very, very fast animations. Like, man, are they quick. Quicker than almost any other weapon I've seen thus far. He's also not penalized, from my observation. From, you know, the armor and scales. And that's about it. Everything else is just average. On the con side, it is a rare weapon to get, so it's a pain in the ass to acquire. And that's about it for the cons, to be honest. Now, for damage, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It was average. It was not penalized either. So it's a pretty average score. Reach, 5 out of 10 for being the average length of a blade. Animation, though, gets a 9 out of 10. Even though it borrows from a couple animations of other weapons, but it performs at almost double the speed. It's quite something. Bonus gets 7 out of 10 for being pretty decent for, you know, dexterity. And Miscellaneous has 8 out of 10 for pretty much being almost perfect to recreation of the actual weapon. Now in total, the weapon gets 35 out of 50. It's a great weapon. Well, in terms of great, I mean great as in looking as in you can use it. Damage-wise, probably not so much. But it's just my observation. So in all, it's a pretty solid weapon. Maybe it's not really worth the effort to get it, but it is pretty awesome though. Those animations are quick and they do quite well in PvP because of that. If anyone's not using a shield, they'll actually probably have a hard time dodging it, because of its speed. But is that truly the case? I don't really do PvP covers, but oh well. You can go ahead and try if you want. I don't guarantee nothing. But no matter. That's been today's showcase. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.